Good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's workshop, Real Talk, a virtual business chat on COVID-19 business challenges and solutions. My name is Tiana McCall, and I'm the Public Information Officer and the Community Relations and Outreach Manager for the office. Before we get started, I want to share some housekeeping information on how to participate in today's workshop. This is designed to be an interactive workshop as indicated on the slide before you. So there will be two ways that you can be engaged and take part in today's conversation. If you would like to speak, please locate the raise your hand icon on your toolbar and select it. When your hand is raised, you'll be placed in line. You will be unmuted when it's your turn, and then you will be directed to share your comment or question. If you would prefer to type your question, then please use the Q&A icon to enter your question on your toolbar, and then I will read it aloud. We will do our best to get to all of your questions that are asked at the time that has been allocated for this workshop. Please make sure that you are asking your questions throughout the presentation. This is the one time you don't have to wait till the end. So as you have a question about the relevant content that's being prepared with you and shared with you, then please put your question in the Q&A at that time or raise your hand. The last thing that I would like to note is that my staff will be using the chat feature. In the chat feature, we will put links and resource information that you can cut and paste or write down for future reference. Please be aware that you will only be able to view information in the chat. You will use the Q&A icon to enter all of your questions and or comments. At this time, I would like to introduce the moderator for today's workshop, our director here at OESBD, Mr. Sandy Michael McDonald. Mr. McDonald?
Thank you, Ms. McCall, and good afternoon to everyone. And real talk. Today's session, matter of fact, let's go back. In 2016-17, I had been in Broward about 3 years in 2016. We did a listening to your business workshop. We went around the county, different areas of the county, and we were trying to get businesses, specifically small businesses, previously certified businesses, women-owned businesses, minority businesses. We were trying to hear from businesses that were no longer with the county. Why? As we were trying to grow our capacity, creating more opportunities for small business, women-owned business, minority-owned businesses, we also recognized that there may have been some things that we were doing that was standing in the way. We knew the county's program had changed from 07, 08 to what used to be race and gender conscious to a race and gender neutral. So a lot of my minorities and women may have went away. So by not knowing, we went around the county to just get the listening to your business. We didn't talk a lot. We listened a lot so that we could try to find ways to re-engage those businesses that we had lost, to address some of the questions, concerns, and even some of the rumors to set the record straight. But more importantly, we started to let our business community know what those future opportunities would be, that even if they didn't go away years ago with an issue, it might be time for them to reconsider. Fast forward to today, 3 years later, we're at that same point that we want to know more about our businesses. We want to do a Get Certified campaign. We want to help businesses to grow capacity, but especially during this period of COVID. Real talk today, different than 3 years ago, is really to help us to hear from our businesses, as well as try to determine what additional things can we do, what things can we do better, how can we disseminate information, but yes, to also hear some of the challenges via COVID or not, that some of our business community might be having. We really do want to improve our service delivery. We have county agencies, county commissions truly working with us. We just tweaked in May of 2018 the ordinance to create even more opportunities. We even got more initiatives like surtax to create even more opportunities. Even through surtax, we now have the cities who who have to use small businesses. Never happened before. But with all that being said, yes, I need to grow the number of small business participation. Yes, I need to get more engaged, but I don't want to grow a number just for the sake of growing a number. I want to grow a larger number of small business participants to assure that more small businesses are being competitive in the procurement process, and most importantly, more small businesses are winning contracts. This program is for naught if we're not finding ways to help small businesses win contracts. Yes, it's going to be a competitive process, but our job is not just to get you certified, but it's also to help develop you. So that's where we are today. We're about a real talk, and that's inclusive of COVID, but it's also about the past. It's also about the future. It's also about getting more information from you. So as Ms. McCall indicated, don't wait to the end of the presentation, because there is no presentation. This is really going to be dialogue. Use that Q&A opportunity to pose those questions so that I can check with her back and forth to see what questions we have, to see how I can address them. And then we also want to throw some opportunities out there to get some polling. I'm actually getting ready to move towards some of that polling now. From time to time, we want to ask you some questions to get your response. And this is how we can begin to generate information, generate data. And understand this, we might be doing this real talk session today, but it's not like real talk and it goes away. Similar to what we did back in 2016-17, information we hear from our small business community, we want to take that information to find ways to better our program, to find ways to create more access for our small businesses, to find ways to help develop our small businesses, find ways so that the county will understand what some of the needs are, so that potentially we could put together more programs, more projects, more initiatives to serve those needs. So let's dive into the first piece of this. Let's take a poll. Next slide. Here's a poll question. Do you own a small business and or live in Broward County? That's the first question. Because we're going to try to get some data, and the best way to get this data, and I probably should have said this first, let's find out who I'm working with today. Let's find out who I'm speaking to today. So here's the first one. Do you own a small business and or live in Broward? And as Ms. McCall told you how to respond, we want you to actually respond to these. Let us know. Let us know who you are. Let us know what's going on. And again, we're going to do multiple of these as we have this Let's Talk chat today. So, next question. Oh, I'm sorry, not next question. Staff is good. So again, this is my first time at this. So, hey, work with us, but I love this. We posed some questions. You gave some answers. Now we got a percentage of response. Yes, I am a Broward County small business owner. 18% of my listening audience said that. Yes, I am a Broward County resident. 18% said that. Yes, I'm a Broward County resident and small business. So as a total group, 45% responded to that. Not applicable. I do not live and or own a business in Broward County. Thank you and welcome anyway for joining us. That's important to know, because real talk, as we talk around some of these subjects, it's about getting to know you, even the one who doesn't work here, doesn't own a business here, doesn't live here. So one topic that we're familiar with, unfortunately, but yet if you are a business owner, we have to deal with, let's start with this COVID. 6 months into COVID, where are we now? Where are you now? How have you been looking at your business? Have you been honest about looking at your business? And let me set the stage for this one. And again, as I'm talking, if you've got questions, please go into the Q&A and do the questions, not the chat, in the Q&A and do the questions. But COVID caught all of us, my cities, this county, this state, this country, this world, off guard. We all got caught off guard. We're in one of those 1 in 180 year conditions by which a health crisis unfortunately shut down business and economic development and consumer traffic and relations in not just a country in the world. So knowing that we're not getting ready to blame this on anyone, as a business owner, as a county government, what did these last 6 months do for you? What did they do to you? And because that day is coming again, where we're going to come up out of COVID, there will be a post-COVID day. But as we plan to transition into that, where are you now? Are you honestly looking at your business and how it functioned pre-COVID? Have you made some steps and changes during COVID? Have you assessed your business model post-COVID? And folks, if you haven't, you have to. First of all, I'm excited for you if you and your business have been able to sustain. Whether you got some of the federal resource support, whether you got some of the state resource support, some of my cities are offering support. We as a county is going to be also adding some additional financial support to small businesses later this month. You'll hear more about that immediately. But the reality is, if you're making it through, have you then decided as a business model via pivoting, what will you need to do to continue to make it through? Or more importantly, how do you see your business 6 months or a year from now? Because that day's coming. But we need to make sure that you are planning for that. So that's the first part of this chat today. 6 months into COVID-19, where are we now? Where are you now? And before I go to Ms. McCall and to Savika about to see if there's any questions, I'm going to answer a portion of that on our behalf. Where are we now? Broward County, as an office, we're still doing the most of what we do just like this, virtual. We're still open. We never closed. Construction was still considered an essential business. So that means contracts were still happening. Prime contractors were working with my small businesses. We had to make sure that those relationships are real. We still had to check those projects to make sure that small businesses are being used, small businesses are being paid. And by using and paying small businesses, you're able to meet the goals that we set for these primes. So we still had to keep going, but we had to keep going in a virtual manner. Ms. McCall and her outreach staff, her marketing staff, her public communication team, they all been teleworking, working from home during this period. Portions of my economic development staff have also been rotating, doing telework and working from home. Same with my small business staff. You know, it's only a few of us who have actually been coming here daily, but again, that's to support the social distancing. But at the end of the day, we can still get the county's work done. So where we are now, we've not only had to change in terms of our operation, but we still had to make sure that our operation, similar to this workshop, could still meet your needs as a small business. So where we are now is still trying to fulfill our obligations and our commitments to the utilization of small businesses and county procurement. But where we are now, we recognize we'll probably still be here this time next year. So we're trying to fine tune how we continue to roll out county projects and how we continue to include small business utilization in those projects. So now I'm gonna check with Ms. McCall and Savika to see if there's any questions coming in right now regarding this first part of Real Talk, which is really centered around where are we now? Where are you now as a business? So do I have anything coming in, Ms. McCall or Savika?
Yes, sir, you do. And it's a two-part question, and it's a little bit lengthy. I'll go ahead and read it aloud, but you may want to click on your Q&A to follow along. So the question is from Tasha Cunningham, and it is, I have a two-part question regarding a recent experience my firm had trying to get on the qualified vendors list for the recent RFP for a specified RFP. Our firm submitted our response 20 minutes before the deadline on BidSync. However, BidSync had a glitch and one of the documents in the response was failed to load. This was through no fault of our own. We got confirmation from BidSync that we were uploading the response before the deadline and that they had an issue. We sent the information along with the response to the manager for the procurement roughly 10 minutes later with all of the information from BidSync. However, the procurement agent said they would not accept the response. She stated that responses had to come directly from BidSync. However, because BidSync had a glitch, we were not able to participate. What can we do to remedy this? Why is it that there is no provision to work with small businesses when the online bid system has a glitch or issue?
Thank you, Tasha, for that question. And I did read along as Ms. McCall answered. So let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about 27 years in small business and procurement and 7 years right now here in Broward. And one of the things that we do in our workshops, and the other small businesses who have attended my workshops will say this, especially that one certified now what? And I'm not going to make excuses for the county nor for BidSync, which is owned by Periscope, but I am going to tell you how in the future we may be able to be of some assistance. But again, real talk is real. The first thing I'm getting ready to tell every single business, especially my small business, never, and I do mean never, this is a real talk day, wait till the last day to submit a bid. And it's for that exact reason, because you are 100% correct. You and your team were ready. You had your documents ready. You're now ready to upload, and there's a technical glitch. Well, understand this. The county may be using the portal and the platform BidSync for how we take in all of our bids, but as an ordinance, the ordinance speaks to when they can solidify or verify a bid and when they can't. Yes, we would love to make sure that the two always connect 100%, but we also recognize even without technology, this used to happen back in the day before technology. Even when I first got to the county, before we got platforms like BidSync, folks used to do the same with written bids, with mail-ins or with drop-offs. She was driving, he was driving 1 hour before, and the train called him, and they got here at 2:02, and the bid ended at 2 o'clock. So my point is, as far as a glitch, and I am glad you mentioned it, and again, thanks for the question, that will happen. So we try to make sure that it doesn't happen. We can be an advocate when it happens to see if anything in terms of the county acknowledging more than you, more than the one person about the glitch, where they may then try to utilize a rule to extend it. But on the record, for the most part, they're not gonna go beyond that even with the glitch. So how do we try to help to answer the last part of your question, small businesses? Because I don't control all the technology in the world, and as much as I think I know about BidSync, the system, and as much as BidSync for the most part is pretty decent, now I'm not saying they're perfect, we advise all of my small businesses two things. One, I need every small business at some point to go after a bid that's not their bid, just so that they can get familiar with the system. But secondly, yes, to your point, unfortunately, I have to encourage, I strongly recommend that my small businesses, now these billionaire, $500 million primes, do what you want to do. But for my small businesses, I encourage each one of them, bare minimum, I don't even look at hours, bare minimum 1 day before it's due, turn it in. And it is unfortunately for your same reason to question. It's because we can't deal with the technicality of the glitch when the county's procurement is going to have to be a hard and check case based on the ordinance and the timeline. There are some instances, very few, where had that happened with multiple vendors prior, purchasing probably could have did an enactment to extend it or to address it. But for the most part, and I'm not going to speak for them, but as I know it, for the most part, they will not. So again, knowing that that's a hard and a fast, the fact that I like to be ahead of the game for my small businesses, that's exactly why I tell my small businesses, no, I can't have you submitting on the last day because no, like you, unfortunately, I'm not getting ready to put all my trust in the BidSync. No, I do know it's a process. I do know it's a system. And yes, electronic bidding, I don't want to get this twisted, has been far greater and more accountable for us than old-fashioned mail or drop off your paper. It really has. But I still have to say, unfortunately, what happened to you, that's real. That glitch would happen. Yes, it could have been a little different if that glitch would have happened if you did it 4 hours early, navigating through the process, then there wasn't a glitch. But being towards the end, that did occur. So I do apologize, and I really hope that doesn't take you away from the opportunity. But in real talk, you asking that question to me, that is one of the things that I won't say for all 7 years, but I will say for my last 4 years, I implore my small businesses, let's get that in bare minimum a day before, because your unfortunate example is a killer. When that technical platform has a glitch. Right now, there is no hard, fast rule that based on that glitch, they're going to accept it anyway or later or extend the process. And we just had one of those, I don't want to say the end of last year, the summer of last year, major in terms of a firm doing the same on a janitorial. You know, was at the last minute, got every document but the last 2 documents before the timeline expired. Now, they had been telling us that they was working on it earlier, but by the time they got it in, they weren't able to get the last 2. So my only advice would be, is the fact that I know that the procurement code has to align with the ordinance, and they are going to cut it off when they say they're going to cut it off, and you're factual. That glitch was not your fault. It was the technology, but to date, there hasn't been a process, a system, or a rule that has allowed for a single to be extended or to be addressed. And hopefully, and again, you can also make sure that you and I can have a conversation about this, but hopefully you did get information explaining this, even when you reached out to the project manager for procurement, because you know, as a part of the procurement process, you can always speak to this office and you can speak to that person, but also because of code and ordinance, no one else. So if you still would like to talk, I'm more than happy to talk with you, but I do understand that scenario because unfortunately it has happened, and it is one of the reasons why the last 4 years I am serious when I say, folks, if you want to ask me, I need you to get it the day before, because I too, I'm afraid of technology in that regard. I might be ready and something happens. So I am sorry that happened to you, but certainly we can speak offline.
Great, thank you.
And Ms. Cunningham, we have placed in the chat for everyone to see our contact information should you have questions or want to schedule technical assistance or anything along those lines with the office going forward. The second part to Ms. Cunningham's question, Mr. McDonald, was she has submitted her CBE application to the office and it is in process. Once we become a CBE, how can we get on this qualified vendor list? And how often do you open the QVLs for new CBEs?
So, Ms. Cunningham, what I'm going to ask you to do for that one, we're going to, and I want everyone to listen, we're going to take that question. And I am going to ask you to take that same written question. Ms. McCall or Savika would put my email up. And I want you to email it directly to me. Because one of the things we also have to always do to make sure that I don't get any of my small businesses in trouble, I got to make sure that the bid you're speaking to is not currently in the process of cone of silence. If it is, you can be eliminated even from future activity, or this could be a black mark against you. But the fact that if you're sending it to us directly, I am one of the offices during that period where you can communicate with. I'll explain that process. And yes, we can also research that specific QVL, the rules as by the solicitation, if there's going to be vendors added later, or if that solicitation and that QVL runs its course of 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is, and then they start again. But since I don't know specifically which one that is, which is a good thing, when I get your direct email, I'll make sure to have a communication with you to explain if this is an open QVL that as we get more vendors, some can join it. Sometimes that happens, but not all the time. Or if this is a closed QVL that once it's established, it runs its course. And then when they go back out again, all new as well as previous vendors can also add to that. So we can talk about that one together.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much for the help. I will email you today.
Thank you much. All right.
Our next question, Mr. McDonald, comes from ASM Inc. The question is about bonding. How can our small business get qualified for bonds when your contract amount is in the millions of dollars? The large sums actually disqualify a small business.
Okay, good question. But here's where I do 3 Ps. In our workshops, I talk about program, process, and people. This one is more related to program and process. First of all, please understand, small business. Our businesses are businesses in Broward, and I'm not going to go through all the certification stuff unless I'm asked later. But on the revenue side, that means to be one of my certified small businesses, you're averaging $5 million or less over 3 years. And if you're going after, if you're in construction, you're averaging $9 million or less over 3 years. You're telling Broward County you have capacity to do jobs that size. And let's be clear, today is a real talk. If you don't have capacity to do that size, then I don't want you going after those bids. It's better for you to grow that capacity. Why? Because the county has a small business program that also have goals. So even if a prime contractor wins a $20 million contract, if I set the goal at 30%, that prime knows that $6 million of those dollars have to go to my small businesses. Maybe you're carved out as 10% of that $6 million, 20% of that $6 million. You then have capacity to meet those bonds, but not that $20 million bond. But we also know some of my small businesses want to be aggressive. They want to go after some of the medium size and the largest. So we do bonding workshops. We do have resources that we can introduce our small businesses to understand how through bonding and sureties, you can garner and get larger sizes. The other part about this is that we also want you to be crystal clear. And that's why I like folks to be specific. You might read in a solicitation what the bonding requirements are. And you might read further in that solicitation based on small business participation where the bond can also be reduced, or that the bond can be paid at the time of delivery of activity for a contract versus on the front end. We always want to be clear about what you're reading. But at the end of the day, we need to also be clear with my small businesses. This is not the guy next door you're going to build a garage for. This is Broward County government. This is taxpayers' money. Bonding is going to be required. And even though purchasing and risk management has worked with me in certain projects to reduce and in some cases even waive bonds, we don't promise that all the time, but those do happen from time to time. So we tell our small businesses, work with our office to understand based on your industry what the project sizes are. And yes, because again, I am a county of different sizes and different opportunities. Yes, we do things that shelter market $250,000 or less. Yes, we do things that we do CBE reserves, roughly about $8 million or less. Yes, we take those primary contracts, 20, 30, 40 million, and establish goals where the big firms got to work with the small. So sometimes in real talk, it's about the small business based on capacity and size, recognizing which projects fit their capacity and size and going after that. But even we recognize some small businesses with a good track record want to scale up. And it's because of that we have resources of bonding companies and sureties that would love to meet and speak with our small businesses to also, bare minimum from an educational perspective, help you to understand what you need to grow that capacity. So that's where, even if the county can't reduce or waive, at least we have these resources that can help you understand where and how to put yourself in position to grow that larger capacity. But I still say, run away from no bid opportunities. Make sure specifically you talk to us about some that you might consider are overarching and too high, because on behalf of the county and small business, we have often found bids where we think an agency may have copy and paste and they really didn't need what they were asking for. And we were able to get with purchasing and with risk management. And during the bid, they did an addendum and they changed some of the requirements. So again, if you got a specific incident, definitely I want to hear about it. If you were asking a generic question overall, please understand some of that language, there's opportunities to waive and reduce. Other parts of that on the development side, on the front end, we can introduce you to sureties and bond companies who can help you begin to grow your capacity. And if there are specific projects, we're always willing to do outreach on behalf of our small business with our county agencies, risk management and purchasing.
Yes,
Thanks for that question.
Yes, it did answer my question. But the last one that came out, which was for the ADA and the bus shelter installation, or a 2-year contract that came out, but they wanted the bond to be inclusive of the 2-year, and you had to pay that bond for each year, that amount for the 2 years total for each year, which I think was very unreasonable. And for that reason, we could not submit a bid on that, because at the end it came up to like about 3 million, and we were only qualified at that time for 2 million.
So let me ask you a question. During that bid, during that Q&A section, period, did you pose that as a question during the Q&A?
Yes, I did.
And what was the response, or who responded?
I don't know who responded, but the response that came back basically said, this is it. This is from purchasing, and they can't change it at this time.
So, and thank you for that response. So one of the things that I do want to add, because we always encourage, and I'm glad you did, our small businesses to use the Q&A. You're not violating anything. That when you go through that process, also let us know. Also let us know, because again, using that example, and again, sometimes, and we want to be open about it, sometimes, whether it's how the county's risk management has established it with purchasing, sometimes how sureties have decided based on county projects what needs to be done, or in certain cases, we thought as a business model, it was the right way to do it. And sometimes it does take getting the right folks in the room to say, if this is what the objective is, and if this is really about small business, and if at the end of the day, we need to make sure that the county's investment is protected, we get it, but we can do it in this manner, we want to try to always introduce an alternative. So I don't want to fake like I can have a conversation that's automatically going to help, but hear me. I always want those conversations, because I can't say on the record. I have had a few instances when we went back and had this conversation during the process, and from risk management and purchasing, and most of the time, inclusive of the user agency, which is key, because you were either speaking with the purchasing director or the project manager from the user agency. If we sometimes can get them all together and make it clear, it's not favoring you, it's favoring all my small businesses. There might be a chance to change that. So I apologize that that did occur, but I do like your example. And I am saying to the entire small business listening audience, the reason I encourage the Q&A facilitation during bids is because you do want to get a real answer back. But I also want small businesses to understand, without making false promises, also keeping this office involved. Because again, our day job is to assure that the county has a program that advantages small business, not creates and put more hurdles in the way of small business. But I also got to be honest, it's still taxpayers' money. So we still have to do things that can be accountable. We still have to do things that can be professional. I still have to be fair and equitable across the board. But again, that's worth the conversation. So thanks for that question and that information.
Yeah, Sandy, just to add to that, at no one time you get work orders. I've been the subcontractor for 2 different primes on this same type of work over the last 5 years.
Okay.
And there is no no work order that's open up for more than 100 or 150,000 at a time. So with the amount of bonding required for that, I think it's a far overreach, because even if $500,000 of work orders is open, because the county issue work orders as you complete work orders.
Yes.
They don't like give you an open and you go break up all over the place. So there is, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but there is at no point in time that you will have $4 million of work open up on the streets of Broward.
Well, hey, and again, I'm going to show you how timely this is. This is timely because on a different issue related to bonding, subrogation, I actually have a meeting convened last week. Real talk. I like this title Mr. McCall and them came up with. I had a meeting 2 weeks ago with risk management. about the timing of the bonding. I had a couple of vendors who had some challenges. It's not that they didn't want to pay, they could afford to pay. But based on subrogation and certain county contracts, they had to pay each year. And I'm paying each year and the work's not even promised to me. That may present a hardship for my small business. They're saying they won't pay, but they're simply saying if you use the work authorization process, when I know I'm going to get some work, bingo, I need to pay. So I spoke with risk management about that. Risk management has no issues with that. But risk management simply says, saying we need to speak with purchasing because it all goes through solicitation and goes through the bid. So I called purchasing. And I had a very detailed conversation with purchasing about the same thing. Purchasing then gave me some old emails before I got here. They even gave me an email from 2015 where they've been looking at finding ways to make sure that the county can still be held and protected. Remember, got to take care of the county. But also it didn't have to be that unnecessary hardship. So purchasing, like we're saying, will be in favor if risk management is in favor. So now next week, I have a conference call with risk management and purchasing. And you and I are going to talk because I probably want to add your example to this. Any opportunity, and I do have a written document from risk management. There are instances where folks have discussed in the past, especially in this situation, some bonding requirements I need on the front end. Yes, because I also got to make sure my small businesses are credible and they can be who they are. But for the work and having to pay these fees and having to put yourself out there, knowing that the work isn't even 10% of what you got to be bonded for, then it should make sense that in working with our agencies and our sureties, that if the county's comfortable saying based on size that should be reduced, we should reduce it. I think that's going to end up being, and I don't want to put myself out there too far, but I think that's going to be a favorable conversation next week because the county wants us to have the small business program. We want us to scale it where small businesses can participate. We want to make sure that the county is always protected and covered. And I think, similar to your example, there's a way to do that in your example as well as this other one. So it's just good timing that you're bringing this to our attention. And again, I do want to talk to you early next week because I might want to take your specific example in that specific bid to also bring to the table. But we are working, and it's just a good example how sometimes, and again, no false promises, how sometimes as small businesses tell us their challenges. That's another part of the real talk today. Trying to ask you some of the best things that we need to know that we can do better. How if we get that information, it is our job, it's my job, to go and advocate to find out what we can change that still protects the county. I always want folks to understand this. Just like you as a business got to protect your business, as government, we got to protect the taxpayers' money. It is about the county. But as we protect the county, how can we assure that there are better opportunities, real opportunities for small businesses to participate? So thanks again for that question.
Thank you, Sandy. Looking forward to it.
All righty.
Mr. McDonald, we have 2 additional questions I'm going to read, but I also want to remind all of the attendees that they are welcome to raise their hand to ask questions as well as input them in the Q&A. Our next question comes from Galaxy Tab, and if you would like to speak as Mr. McDonald begins to answer your question, you can raise your hand and we can still unmute you so that you can engage in the dialogue with him. The question is, what advice can you give to anyone considering a startup during this time?
And that's a real question. And there's an old saying, and I'm going to mess it up, so don't even worry about the old saying. But we do know that in this chaos, and some folks respectfully also say, you don't waste a good crisis. And when you start talking about your industrialization period and your era, you know, necessity, you know, is the, what's the thing, Mr. McCall, necessity and the whole idea of inventions. Folks, out of crisis comes opportunities. So this is a real chance during COVID to be smart about determining what opportunities there are to start a business. So again, as a county, and I have to take your question on the surface, as a county government official, I don't give advice. You know why I don't give advice? Because I advise you to do something, you go do it, it don't work, then you want to sue the county. Tell me, Sandy told me to do it. So I don't give advice. We share information. We disseminate information. We make sure that you're informed. So whether you're talking about new opportunities, whether you're talking about a synergy of taking something existing, doing it differently. Whether you're talking about emerging sector businesses, yes, if someone was to sit back now and say, understanding COVID and how has COVID interrupted or disrupted existing businesses, what is it that existing businesses have now had to do to remain sustainable during COVID? What is it that they'll have to do to continue to be sustainable or pivot and change what they do post-COVID? What is it that the consumer needs more now because of COVID that they didn't need prior? And what is it that the consumer might get comfortable with doing during COVID that they're going to want to continue to do after COVID? If you're really talking about, as an entrepreneur, exploring what the opportunities are, one of the things that they teach in the entrepreneurship courses is that the most successful businesses in this era, the last decade or two, it's not so much about the new thing. It's about finding solutions to other things. It's about advancing what we already have. The best example on it, advancing what we already have, phone ain't never changing. Phone is still a phone, even though if it went from Marbell and you spin the dial all the way to the cellular phone. Only thing happening now is all the new apps. All the new access and the capacities for the things you want to do, the things you need to do, being able to now do it on your phone. The ability to be able to connect your phone to everything that you're actually doing. So in creating solutions, looking for answers to the consumers and to commercial real estate and to states and cities and school districts, and creating solutions, those are some ideas of a direction someone would want to consider when they're talking about starting a business. What is it that folks are needing that is that's lacking? What is it that is currently happening, but there can be some modifications and improvements? Those are my thoughts, not my ideas and my advice. Those are my thoughts of what you take a look at when you're really thinking about starting businesses. But there have been those who recognize. I just saw this, I kid you not, I just saw this earlier today. A sign shop has always been a sign shop. And a sign shop did everything from heavy signs to banners to paper signs. A sign shop just realized, based on material, I too am one of the best businesses to provide the plexiglass or the shields for stores, for counters, for office space. I used to be a sign shop. People still need signs, but because of my equipment, because of the material and the access to the material, because of how I currently do everything by size anyway, I'm one of the best guys based on material to start selling the plexiglass or the fabrication or just the plastic dividers. That's an existing business deciding. So again, I was going to lunch earlier, and I went to the plaza down off of Federal, and I saw the truck because I knew the truck. It's a sign shop truck. But he wasn't doing a truck. He wasn't doing a sign. I kid you not. That was today. He was cutting to go in and to create the shields for this cleaners. So that's my thought. My thought is, you really want to take a look at trying to identify solutions. You really want to take a look at what you know is a need that's probably going to be a larger need. And you really want to take a look how can you take something and advance it better. Those are just ways to begin to think about as an entrepreneur, starting a business right now. And yes, there are resources. Do not be told anything different. I'm not going to use this buzzword grant. That's not about it. But there are resources. Federal, state, foundations, and others, philanthropists, and others. There's resources with folks starting businesses with the right business. Okay.
Mr. McDonald, the English language proverb that you were referencing was necessity is the mother of invention, which roughly means that the primary driving force for most new inventions obviously is need. And we also want to let you know that we will put in the chat information about our upcoming Kaufman dates. We'll put the intentional entrepreneur dates that are coming up in October, November, as well as the listening to your biz dates. Those will be in the chat for those interested in getting information about our entrepreneurship program. The next question comes from John from Sigma Solve. We are a software company here in Broward. Is there a place for bids related to web mobile app software for the county?
So thank you for the question, John. And John, what we're going to do with that, especially on the line of IT, because 3 years ago, I probably would have told you no. Year and a half ago, I probably would have told you no. But instead of me saying no fast right now, it's easy for me to take that question, give that to one of my staff, and what we do on a regular basis, have them to simply go back and let's see in the last 3 to 4 years, which county agencies has procured that service. See, because again, I know we probably have started procuring it, but it may not have been through a bid portal. It based on the dollar value, it could have been through a P card. That's just a card that agencies have for certain limited dollars to get services to be procured. But one of the things that I don't mind sharing with you, John, that we share with a lot of our businesses after they hear certain workshops, hey, even before someone gets certified with us, please, we tell every business, every entrepreneur, go become a county vendor. You can do that on BidSync for free. Become a county vendor. Take the time. That way, based on the NAICS code, based on your industry, you'll never miss a bid. But before you decide to commit your time to get certified, we don't mind. Give my staff a week or two, and we'll take your industry, your goods, your material, your service, your product, whatever it is you do, and we'll go look at the last 3, 4, 5 years to see if the county has procured it. And if so, which agencies procured it? And if so, how much did the agencies pay for it? And if so, how often did they buy it? Then that's the best answer to let you know based on the service you provide, if the county's buying it. So that's what I would like to do with your question. I would like to take your question, give that to one of my small business specialists. And again, I don't have to guess. Let's just flat out from software and web design and other things you mentioned. Let's just see if the county's procuring it. And the reason I want to say the if, as you know, we got an IT division. We have folks who are responsible for what the county needs in terms of software. We have folks who are responsible in terms of what the county needs from Office of Public Communication regarding our websites and our design and what we do. But if any of those agencies use outside consultants, then you want to know about that. But again, even with saying it that way, it's easier for me to just go take a look. And you give me a week or two, we'll tell you if the county's buying it. And if so, we'll be able to tell you which agencies are buying it. We'll be able to research exactly how it's been procured in the past. And that begins to help you to understand, hey, maybe I do want to get certified. Maybe I do want to get in the game because there's competitive opportunities. So let us go look at that one for you and get back with you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because I've worked with other states. Our company has in building things like contact tracing. So I didn't know if that was something that y'all were going to put up for bids to see if it was something y'all would be pursuing. And if so, how y'all would go about it. But if that's, again, something y'all are going to have to look into, and we'll just keep an ear out then. Yeah, and definitely keep an ear out because I do know that the county is going to be doing something. But I think this was one of our educational partners on the side of contact tracing. But here's the upside. Even if we choose to go with one of the universities, the idea is that who are the universities other than their departments and their students, will they be doing any subcontracting? So again, definitely pay attention to our newsletter. And I would also say, follow us on the next county commission meeting, because I think that's going to be addressed at the next county commission meeting, the county's direction towards the contact tracing. Okay, thank you. Yep, you got it. So with this real talk, let's shift a little bit to another one of these topics, the rumors. And I'm just going to use one of our projects to show how the county is genuine about their activities. Fact versus fiction. Like I said, back in 2016, 2017, 100% of the face-to-face workshops we did with the program called Listening to Your Business, that's what it was. Now this today, and so far every single question has been on point. The things that we can find out, we're going to share with those the people who asked, as well as the public in general.
And again, this is the type of engagement we wanted. But I will say, back in 16, I intentionally was asking for the griping. Thank you, we've had no griping today. I don't want the griping today. This is a different direction. But I wanted it then, because I was still new. And I wanted folks just to tell me what was really going on. But whether it was then or now, I don't need the griping, but I do need real, honest, open conversation. That's why I had the chat or the real talk. Another topic was the fact versus fiction. And here's one of the examples. The county set out 2 years ago to do the expansion of the convention center, about 500,000 square feet or more, and to do a brand new 800-room key Omni Hotel, 4-star hotel. So with that, along comes COVID. And we know COVID has interrupted so much business. And yes, my hospitality industry is down. No one's doing conventions and conferences. No one's, for the most part, in major numbers, are renting hotel rooms. No one's even flying into our airport. So no one's even using those services. So we've been getting all these questions. Wow, so you're not going to do the hotel now. Truth is, fact versus fiction, we are going to do the hotel. Nope, we didn't put the bonds on the street at the beginning of this year because that made absolutely no sense. If you understand the bond market, the bonding market, and where hospitality was going in the tank. But we are comfortable with some most recent reviews where we do believe that we have exactly what we need for the hotel portion. But before we even deal with the hotel portion, construction, as I said at the beginning of the workshop, never stopped. There's still about $180 million, 160 and 180, somewhere in the middle, $1 million of construction activity that is still taking place between now and the end of next year at that convention center. So whereas folks were saying that the goal won't be met, the job is going to stop, the county's going to be stuck for the next 5 to 7 years, I can tell you on the record, not true. And I just wanted to use that as an example because that's not about griping or being negative. That's because we want folks to understand there's a lot of projects and initiatives that because of COVID are going to be slow and some that will be removed. But as a small business, you want to be interested in knowing those that are going to continue, those that already have money in the bank, those that we're still going to be aggressive about the utilization of small business. So this portion is also a way similar to back in 2016, 2017, when I was just asking them, even as a program, tell me some of the things that you heard that kept you away from being a small business or that kept you from being successful, because dealing with rumors, we like to put them to rest. And that's the whole idea. We want to make sure that we're always open, fair exchange. And again, because I'm just one part of the county, I have absolutely no problem with telling you exactly how it is. Those things that can be tweaked to change, those things that can't, those things that we advocate and fight for, those things that are part of the process. But more importantly, the bigger picture is how can we assure that at least 25% of what the county does, we do with small business. So one of the things I would never want to get in the way of small businesses participating is small businesses dabbling in rumors or still believing some of the bad practices, I'll say it out loud, some of the bad practices of the past are still happening. And one of those, I'll take this from the 2016, 2017 listening to your business workshops that we did, is I had some vendors who said, well, Mr. McDonald, I'm not registered with y'all no more because I was on a couple of teams. And as soon as the commission approved it, as soon as the negotiations ended, we were less than 1 month into the job, and the prime then fired us and hired their cousin or brother or somebody else to do the job. And that's not fair. See, I wasn't here. I did research. That really did happen. But I had to tell the person in 2016, you're telling me about something that really did happen in 2010. That hadn't happened again since 2013, because the county did do an amendment to this program. And that amendment was done in 2012. Business Opportunity Act as amended in 2012. And in that 2012 amendment that was enacted in 2013, that 2012 amendment created a substitution process. So a firm can't use you to win a contract and then decide to fire you. If a firm commits to a small business as a part of a contract, if as a part of the consideration, that firm is then identified and ranked number one, the small businesses that are part of that contract or part of that bid are in place. That firm is stuck with my small businesses. Post-negotiation, you still stuck with my small business. During that contract, you're still stuck with my small business. Yes, there's a process if you want to get rid of my small business, but you got to come see me. You have to tell me exactly why you want to remove my small business. And you need to know as a prime, everything you tell me, I'm going to tell my small business. And then my small business needs to respond to everything the prime is saying. And the small business needs to know everything you tell me, I'm going to tell them. And then I try to get the two to work it out. And then I bring them both in so we can have this big meeting. That's the real process. So no, you can't win a contract and 2 weeks or 2 months later, just fire someone and get someone else. Even if I let you substitute after going through that process, you got to substitute with another one of mine. You still can't go get your cousin. So that was something that I had to clear up with a couple of firms. They weren't wrong. That really did happen to them in 2010 and before. And that did run them away from Broward County. And no, they didn't have any idea that that rule was implemented in 2012. And since 2013, that wouldn't have happened again. So that's what I mean about rumors. We want to make sure the small businesses truly know what our day job is, what our role is. And in the end, because I just had a big meeting last Friday, there's no secrets. What I tell my small businesses, I tell my prime contractors. We just met with three county agency representatives and prime contractors last week, last Thursday or Friday, because I wanted to let them know. We do a very good job these days for subcontracting and trade opportunities. We exceed my at least 25% goal on just about every county project. But I have professional service CBEs. I got architects, engineer, design folks, project management, construction management folks. And they don't get that many opportunities because either through the county or the prime, that stuff is done in-house. So we just had that big meeting with county agencies and with other primes because I wanted them to know on the record, I got professional service CBEs. And there's an expectancy of this office and the commission that you use them on the front end, just like you use my subcontracting trades folks on the back end. And yes, we also speak to ourselves. I had to make sure that the county agencies know, wait, before you ever put that bid on the street, if there's a chance to carve out some professional service opportunities on the front end, I need you to do it. I don't have to blame the prime. If the prime never sees it, it's because the county realized CBEs can do this. So that was the point about Real Talk today for the rumors. We always want to know what's keeping my eligible small businesses from getting certified. What is it that we may have done that you don't know we don't do no more? Or what is it that we may have done that we're unaware that we now need to probably still check ourselves to make sure that it's advantaging and it's creating opportunities for small business? So that's what I want to make sure you understand. Even if not Q&A today, please understand, you ever hear something that hinders or impedes your ability to produce as a small business or be engaged in this program or to have competitive fairness, you are encouraged to let me in my office know. We want to address it. That's our day job. Okay?
We do have a question in the Q&A section. It's not directly related to OESBD, but it is related to small businesses and some things that have been going on since COVID. And it would be great for you to elaborate on this. He's stated by Galaxy Tab A, heard a lot about misuse of PPP loan funds. Any news about impacts for future funding opportunities?
So you heard the same thing I heard about misuse of PPP. I've done 2 workshops, one nationally for COMTO, the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, and then we did one ourselves as a county with our partner, National Development Corporation in DC, on the misuse and preparing for the loan forgiveness of PPP. So it happened. I just wanted to caution and warn folks back in June and July that the federal government and the Treasury are really going to pay attention to this. They're hiring contractors to date that are going to be investigating this. So I hope folks who did have access to PPP are using it properly, and everyone's going to be held accountable. And again, and I'm sorry when I said that, everyone's going to be held accountable based on whoever they get to. But at the end of the day, it never was, and we said this in the beginning of our workshops, back then, back in April and May, it never was free money. Don't want nobody to ever get that twisted. It's funds for resources that still are going to have to be held accountable. I, like you, and we, all of us collectively, are hoping as we complete Labor Day weekend, as Congress and Senate find their way back to DC, we're hoping that there are men and women who will follow what they originally had planned in terms of the stimulus and the support for small, minority, women-owned businesses, and residents. We're hoping they're truly going to come back to the table. We're hoping that next major stimulus package happens. We're hoping that there's additional dollars in that package for those, even those who may have received something on the front end. Anybody who got PPP, for the most part, we know you've already spent that because that was primarily designed just to keep the people working. And it was only for this 8-week period. So at the end of the day, if you got some in the beginning, it's been gone. So we're hoping and we're monitoring closely. The legislative office of the county stays on top of that. They let me know something as soon as they hear something, even outside me watching their own news. But the whole idea is we're hoping that the federal government is going to create another package, that we all will hear something soon after Labor Day that's going to provide some more assistance and support. As a county, we're fine-tuning right now a process where hopefully 2 weeks, 3 weeks max, I'll be announcing a small business grant program where we're going to be trying to make some dollars available to our smallest of small businesses. We are going to be starting with those who didn't get any PPP or EIDL, but there's going to be a chance later to potentially award some grants to some of those who got PPP or EIDL, but on a minimum side. But we're fine-tuning all that right now, and we're going to be making our announcement. You should also be expecting from the 31 cities in Broward. Some of the cities are also going to be making announcements of some of the things that they're looking to do with small businesses. Again, we don't have a lot of money, but even with the limited dollars we have, we know we need to do something for small business. But definitely check our website. Check our website because for foundations, companies and corporations, state and or federal, we have a list of resources on our website of where small businesses can still access grants and loans today. If anyone puts something out there, our community partner, South Florida Regional Planning has a new loan program out there right now. We know AT&T had dollars out there right now. I know Wells Fargo is getting ready to put theirs out there right now. Anytime we hear about a resource, we do put that on our website. So, Ms. McCall, back to you, or do I keep going?
We do have a question regarding the professional services workshop that we had last week. I'm having staff put in the chat as we speak a link to that workshop for their viewing purposes, but they were asking that you elaborate a little bit on that meeting regarding professional services CBEs in place.
Certainly, but I would certainly, I think his name is Woodley, I would certainly encourage you, if Ms. McCall is putting that link out there, go to that link and watch that workshop. There's names and individuals. If you're a professional service, you want to know on that workshop. We are going to be trying to put together a list of all the participants and make that available. But the bottom line is, I'll use the example that I used before. Before I got here, when the county did the courthouse, they had at some point the demolition of the old parking garage, the crosswalk between the parking garage and the courthouse and the old courthouse, the building of a new courthouse and the building of a new parking garage. And as a county, we need to do what we need to do. And I think we put all of that out on the street with a small business goal. And they actually ended up exceeding the goal, which is a good thing. But what we also recognize, most of that was done on the trade side, on the back side. Electrical, mechanical, give me some painting, give me some floor, give me some carpet, give me some furniture, give me some landscape. And the professional service folks, the A&Es, the designs, the construction management, professional management, hey, we were left out. So we actually took that example over the last 6 years and just started having the necessary conversations because we believe, just as an example, county, you certainly have to do those things that are contiguous that make sense. But as a question, county, you could have taken the new parking garage, since it's not going to be connected to the courthouse with a crosswalk this time. Could we have not taken the new parking garage and carved that out for our professional service side of CBEs? Could not a CBE had did the design? Could not other CBEs had bid for the majority of the work? Could we not have set it up for project management to be done by CBEs? So there's some things that we know we can control that if we're willing to look at our construction and our footprint in that manner, we can start in that way. But even for other things, if there's that true need for design build, and you're a professional, you know better than I, a lot of going in the design build direction these days, even on the design build side, when the major developer or the contractor comes, then it's behoove of us, purchasing and the user agency, to start strongly reminding, starting with the solicitation language, that these primes, that the goal to be met just don't have to be met on the back end. You can use some of my professional service folks to help meet the goal. So that's what that meeting was about. I even had 2 or 3 prime contractors to speak, no, 3 or 4 prime contractors to speak, 3 representatives from county agencies, specifically Construction Management Division, who handles most of the construction in the county, and just the idea that I wanted folks to start realizing that that's getting ready to come away from just the chit chat and the talk. We're getting ready to put that into action. So if you get a chance, definitely go see that video. But we will be, through our newsletter, as we're reviewing projects for consideration from CMD and other county agencies, we will be screaming when we have those carved out opportunities for professional services.
Thank you so much. Highly appreciate it.
No problem.
You can continue, Mr. McDonald.
Okay, so again, always from that rumor factor, and again, it's not about negative, it's not about griping, but please share with us, share with this office. You can send me an email, most folks that contest to it. Even when I don't get it, I got at least 3 people who see my emails every day, so don't send me nothing crazy, but send me an email, and again, we'll always respond. Staff already knows if someone's requesting a meeting, they just set the meeting. Someone's requesting a conference call, they just set the call. I'm one of those that I go where my staff tells me, whether it's an email I need to respond to, a phone call, or a meeting. So again, if you ever hear something that has kept you from working with us or something that's impeding your ability to work with us, we really do want to know. And again, I keep saying, I'm not saying that we do magic and we move all the things out the way, we don't. But we do recognize if we don't address issues and concerns, they'll remain issues and concerns. If I can address it and put it out there and come back with an answer, at least I got the answer. So that we're willing to do. The other thing, brainstorming, challenges and solutions, where's the help? Even as a county, we don't even fake it. Me and my office, I think we do a good job, but we don't fake it. There are so many resources here in Broward County. I always mess up, but we got an acronym, Alliance for Entrepreneurial Resource Organizations. I actually might have said it right, ARROW. That's just one of the groups. There's about 9 to 14 agencies that belong to ARROW. And ARROW is here to help the minority, the woman, the small, and the entrepreneurs in Broward County strategize, come up with solutions, help them learn how to navigate processes. This is government. I got school district. I got Broward Health. I got Broward College. I got 31 cities. We want to make sure in brainstorming that we do sessions that are of value. But more importantly, we want you to know about the other free, the other reduced, and some of the fee services right here in Broward County. So we want you to make sure you're telling us what your needs are, what your concerns are, and we want to make sure that if not us, or including us, how we can direct you to resources, how we can direct you to solutions, how we can direct you to other business organizations, non-for-profits, community-based organizations, and some for-profit organizations who are willing to work with our small businesses to make sure that we can help them derive at solutions. That's key. Because again, I don't want no one to get off of this workshop today. We never try to create a facade. It all just can't be our office. And because of that, we have a resource guide. We also have partners, and we also have those who the county has aligned themselves with specifically to help our small business community. So when you're thinking about things, we're comfortable with you bouncing them off of us. Remember, we don't give no advice, but we certainly will introduce you to other partners that might be able to further along your ideas or help you come up with solutions, or at least direct you where you can get additional support that will help you in your business model, or your growth. So again, as a part of Real Talk, that's the other thing I wanted to also make sure was clear today. I don't want no one to believe that everything that's done, we do it. So I'm gonna ask Savika and Ms. McCall to get ready, because I do want to get another poll in to get a feel for you guys. So with this audience, which did grow since the beginning, take question number 3, Ms. Savika and Ms. McCall. Are you certified with Broward County OESBD? And I want those single choices. I want to see, based on my audience again, and I'm gonna do a couple of these real quick. Who am I working with? Are you certified with my shop? Yes, I am a certified SBE and or CBE. Or yes, I am a certified DBE and or ACDBE. Yes, I am both A and B. No, I am not certified, but I would like to learn more. Or no, I do not own a business. So take a few seconds, answer those for me, and then staff will come back and let me know who I'm working with, because that'll be a next good piece about my conversation, because again, we are in that period of get certified. We're in that period of growing capacity. We're trying to make sure for all these goals I'm setting, and for getting 31 cities also to commit to use small businesses, for recognizing we got funds when other folks right now don't have money. The worst thing that can happen is we set this table for small business participation, and I don't have enough small businesses. So I want to ask this question, get some responses to try to see what I'm working with. Okay, 20% of you are in my local small business program. It doesn't look as if I have anyone in my federal program. That's the DBE, ACDBE. Got 10% of that 20 that's actually in both. No, I'm not certified, but I would like. Okay, for my audience of approximately 28 participants, 50% are saying that you would like more information. So that's going to lead you back to Savika and Ms. McCall's shop. They are our community outreach. They not only do target outreach, they do dissemination of information, they run our events calendar, they run all of our virtual workshops. They are the ones to make sure that small businesses here in Broward County who have an interest in getting certified know exactly where to go. Actually, Ms. McCall, I think you have a workshop coming up on the 29th or the end of this month about the certification, how to get certified or completing your certification application. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So we offer that monthly, but they can also at their leisure go to our YouTube page on any given day where the webinar is there, and they can take advantage of viewing that at a time that's convenient for them, and it walks them through step by step.
And that's good to know. So again, especially for that 50% of this listening audience today, we want to get you all the information you need about understanding more about the small business, but I do want you to take that one tidbit, that one nugget that I shared. If you are a business, on our website, you can have access to BitSync, so you can just register to become a county vendor for free. Staff can even show you and tell you how to do that. Become a vendor. But If you're not familiar already that the county buys your good, material, or service or product, send me that email so I can have staff to go research that. And based on that research, at least I can tell you that. But if you already know, because you know other businesses or you've seen other bids, that the county does buy your good, material, or service or product, and you're just interested in learning more, start with Ms. McCall's website, start with that workshop, go straight to that YouTube video. You can learn more about not only filling out the certification application, but going back to my 3 Ps. I want you to make sure you understand this program and the intent of the Broward County Commission. Understand the process of how you can garner and gather additional information and learn how to navigate BidSync and learn how to use our newsletter and other tools to get ahead of future bids. And then we want to make sure you can use our office in purchasing and others to meet the right people, or at least to know where the people are that as you're going through the process, you may need to use from time to time. And that's about the 3 Ps. So certainly make sure, if all possible, you follow the website, you grab the things that you need. And I often say this, Ms. McCall and her team have quite a few workshops, technical assistance trainings that we do. It is not my expectancy that as a small business, I see you or hear from you or I see your name as participant in every single one. As a small business, I'm the first to say, you too busy to be on every one of these workshops. As a matter of fact, I too got to be honest. If you're on every one of my workshops, you can't be making no money. So I want you to understand the workshops, understand their value, and like all good businesses, create a business model where you go get the assistance you need. So yeah, it does mean you might want to read through our newsletter or read through the website, but then select those workshops that would be more advantageous to you. Don't just go click and join each one. Now, if you got that kind of free time, come on. But for the most part, even I want to make sure I'm always respecting your time. And we're also always providing information you guys need, which is why, Savika, I do want to move to another poll, and that's going to be number 9, because this is key in terms of making sure, even like today, we don't want to do workshops for the sake of doing workshops. When we get back to our technical assistance trainings, I want to be doing things that advantage you, things that you need. So this question is, what topic do you believe we should do a future workshop? More about SBA programs. There's much more than EIDL that you found out, many of you found out during this COVID. Many don't recognize that EIDL is really what the state uses on a regular basis post a hurricane season. If businesses were interrupted or destroyed, we have that program available for our small businesses. It just became a part of CARES Act because the federal government gave us more money, and they just used the SBA portal for EIDL to do the EIDL. But SBA has programs in addition to EIDL and even without CARES funding, and you need to understand about 8A. You need to understand about Hub Zone. You need to understand about their women-owned small business program and the federal guidelines for using women small businesses and all the things that they do. You need to understand about Section B and HUD and Section 3 and HUD and the utilization of small minority and women-owned businesses whenever projects are being dealt with in urban communities who also take CDBG, Community Development Block Grant money. So there's tons and tons of federal programs that SBA operates. So that's what those questions were about. And we just want to see from a percentage perspective, what type of additional things you want to hear from us. 27% of you would love to hear more about SBA programs. B certainly is real. 45% would love more funding resource. B is also real. C, building your brand versus marketing. And 18% on legal assistance for your small business. Okay, so that's good for my staff, because we want to be scheduling workshops for the remainder of the year and next year off of what you want to hear, not just things that we feel good about. The thing about that branding versus that marketing, and it's the same in terms of a strategy, marketing versus selling. Branding, trying to create that feel, that look, that consistency, and that loyalty. takes you to marketing, which is all the activities you need to do to eventually sell something. And with all the activities you need to do, you want to be branded so one gets a feel for who you are as you're doing all these activities, because you're leading them to the ultimate, which is that sale. So we do recognize that a lot of our businesses do marketing, but they don't have a brand. We've also run across, especially with my entrepreneurs, a lot of folks who have a brand and they think the brand alone is going to get them to the sales. They forgot all about the activities called marketing. So yes, we don't mind doing workshops to make sure that we clearly delineate and specifically show the differentiation between marketing, between branding, getting to the sale, and even as a part of those activities on marketing, the whole ideas of advertising and different mediums by which you do advertising. So again, it was good to see those, and those are things that we're not just on this Real Talk today, we're not just talking about. Those are things that you can look forward to next year, us doing workshops on, because again, if you're in need of it and we can provide it, we want to do so. So as we prepare to close today, as we're getting towards the 3 o'clock hour, I think it's important for us to make mention that again, it's Broward's intent. We're being intentional about growing our small business program. I have to say on the record, we have a very supportive commission. Not like 6 out of my 9 or maybe 7 on a good day. I have 9 commissioners who truly believe in small business. I got about 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 of those commissioners who are small businesses themselves. So for Broward County, the timing is right for us to make sure that we are continuing a program, we're bettering a program, and we're creating more opportunities within our program for small businesses to participate. But as I said earlier, as we're doing this, I got to do my job and you got to help me do my job. I must get more businesses to participate. And I need to be clear about this participation. I don't want to take, and we have approximately 713 small businesses right now certified. That's good. Yes, I would love to have, for my size, certified small businesses in Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade, I think I heard on a report yesterday, has about 1,900, 2,000 certified small businesses. And Miami-Dade, for the most part, is 2 times my size, maybe a little larger. So I got 713 small businesses. So without question, for all the activity I got going on and available funds, I would love to have 12 to 1,400 small businesses in our directory. But not just for the sake of having 12 to 1,400 small businesses. I need 12 to 1,400 small businesses where at least 70% of that population is aggressively participating in county competitive procurement. No, it's not free. No, I can't promise you're going to win. But I need 70% of the people that I do have and 70% of the businesses that I want to have regularly participating in county procurement. And then I got to find a way to make sure that 35 to 40% of those participating, bare minimum, 35 to 40% are winning. This program is for naught unless small businesses are participating and, more importantly, winning contracts, making money, growing their business. Because as the economic development director and the small business director, when I put that economic development hat back on, it's the small businesses, which happen to be 89% of all the businesses in Broward, that drives my economy. So if the county just got to buy a good material or service anyway, we should make sure that a portion of what we got to buy is purchased from the small businesses in the county. Yes, I want my cities to do the same. I don't need my cities to do a small business program, but I do need my cities to honor some form of a local preference where you at least look at businesses in your zip code. And if you can't find them in your zip code, find them in the other 30 zip codes in terms of the cities in Broward. And if we can't find them in the county, then I want to find it in the region. I can't find a good material or service in the region, then I want to find it in the state. But we want to start right here at home. So I am doing a major push. COVID slowed it a little bit, but not a lot. A major push to grow the number of certified firms. And I have to continue to say, I need you in my directory. I'm never going to promise you to win a contract, but I am assuring you and guaranteeing you the information we provide will help you to be competitive. And if you understand our program, those things called sheltered and reserve opportunities means you get to bid against the small guys like you and not the big boys. And even when the big boys win, all their projects have a goal of at least 25. So again, I can never promise you're going to win, but can I promise you that there are major opportunities and major positioning that you can place yourself in to be competitive? Yes. And since you recognize Broward is just another option, I never tell small businesses to put all their eggs in one basket. For the same reason you were a business before you ever met me, however you're trying to garner business, however you're trying to identify your target market, do that. And then come attack Broward and look at us as another one of your opportunities. And for a free subscription to be a vendor, to a free process to be certified, to have access to bids, to be notified by my office for goals and shelter markets and reserve. If you about your business, you can competitively be in the game. And yes, I'm cheering for you because I need you to win some contracts. I need you to make some money. I need you to grow your business because growing your business, you're working here. Some of your employees going to live here. You're all going to get paid. You're going to spend commerce in my community. You're growing and turning that dollar in this economy. So yes, I want my 713 certified small businesses. By this time next year, I definitely need that to be 1,000. And by the beginning of the following year into 22, I need that to be around 12 to 1,300. But not just so I can say, wow, I got 12 or 1,300 in my directory. I need to be able to say 70% of them, I'm seeing their name cross my desk, they are really engaged in this bid process. But then I want to look up and realize, wow, 35 to 40% of them are winning. Because if I start there, it does nothing but grow and keeps going. So folks, that was Real Talk today. Real Talk was our chance. Go to the next screen because I think that's or go to the one with the stay in touch with us. I'm sorry. You can stop there real quick. That was Real Talk today. And the reality is we wanted to make sure that you were aware of who we are, how you can get in touch with us. I need to find out more about who you are and what my audience looks like and what they need. This is another example of, I told you earlier, about resources that we know are available right now. This will also be up on our website. Snap a picture of it right now if you want. But those are real resources that we talked about earlier because I wanted you to know everything isn't done by us. We have real community partners and we exchange and share their information and they do the same for us. So resources are key. But as I close, post a resource, I want you to see the sheet or the slide of the different ways to get in touch with me, my office, and my staff. You know, we got the Twitter going, we got the YouTube going, we got the Facebook going. Our email is over there somewhere. I even think Ms. McCall will tell you what you can do with this box over here in orange with your camera on your phone. We really want you to be in touch. We really want you to actually recognize, without making those false promises, we're here to assist small business in their certification, in their development, in their participation in county contracts, in their growth, and in their success. That's it. And I'm so serious about small businesses got to make money because at the end of the day, you can be of no value to me if you're not of value to yourself. So the county wants to be one of those vehicles that continues to demonstrate your value to you, which in turn you demonstrate your value to the county. So I thank you today, and I'm going to be done. And anything that needs to be said as a closeout, Ms. McCall would do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Just want to make sure that all of our attendees know to please check the chat before you leave. Information regarding resources and the links and different things that were discussed today are in there for your access. We included information about the certification webinar. That was a question that popped up in the Q&A. So we made that link conveniently available for you there in the chat. Additionally, all the resources that were on the slide Mr. McDonald just showed, we put those resources directly in the chat for you, so you can cut and paste, click on the links so that it's convenient for you. So just make sure you take a moment before you close out to look at that chat. Also, my staff and I are excited to hear your feedback with regards to future workshops you're interested in, and we look forward to making sure that we can provide this programming for you in the near future. That is all. Oh, there's one other thing that I wanted to share, Mr. McDonald, that was over in the Q&A. As you were talking about different organizations that we work with and partner with, as we don't do it alone in the community, I wanted to read that the Urban League of Broward County, their Entrepreneur Center, UBiz CoLab, will be having a lunch and learn on September 24th from noon to 1:30. So please visit their website for more information about registering for that if you have an interest in entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for attending today. If there's anything else that we can do here at the Office of Economic and Small Business Development, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to continuing to serve you. Have a wonderful day.
Hello.
Yes.
Just want to congratulate you guys for this presentation. It's been succinct. It's been very informative. And I realize it was recorded. Will I be able to access and go over this presentation?
Absolutely. We will provide the recorded link on our YouTube page that can be accessed from our website. It'll also go out to everyone who's registered here today. We make sure that we send out a thank you email, and we will provide that link in there for you to access the recording as well.
Okay, lovely. And this PowerPoint will also be there, correct?
It'll be included in the presentation, but we can attach the PowerPoint separately if that'll be helpful. Sure.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Lovely. Lovely. And what's your email address?
My email address is on the slide right there, tmccall@broward.org.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you to everyone for participating and joining us today.